Hi everyone, happy wonderful Saturday to you. And on this day, I wish for you moments of peace, ease, and well-being for your different kind of happy. I apologize for coming to you late today for our mindfulness moment together. What I like to offer to you today is some pieces of information that I've read recently and turning that into our mindfulness moment practice together. I read that scientists have reported that our brain receives 400 billion bits of information per second. That's a lot of information. 400 billion bits of information per second. And what the brain does is it begins the filtering process down to about 2,000 bits per second, which is still a lot of information. But from 400 billion to 2,000, that's a lot of discriminating against all that information that comes into us. And what happens in the mind is we discriminate against the things we don't know, the things that are unfamiliar, and we choose to let in of those 4,000 bits the things that are familiar, the things that we may have learned when we were 5 years old that we still know in our psychosomatic organ. And that explains why when we try to change into a new habit, move into a new direction in our lives, it's so hard because of these ingrained habits that we keep going back over and over and over again because they are familiar. So, with that information, what I'd like to offer you for our mindfulness moment practice together today is to take an old trick and turn it into a new treat, to begin to break that cycle of going back to the same familiar so that you expand yourself to receiving so much more of the other opportunities that are available for you to receive in the world. Okay, so what I mean is, I'm going to give you an example. Some years ago, for some reason, my children learned from their friend this game that we play in the card called banana slap. So every time they see a yellow car, they would slap each other. Well, I got involved in the game, and very quickly I realized this is not quite how I want to experience my car ride. Being slapped is not how I want to experience my moments. So I switched it into a new treat. And so I changed it from banana slap to banana love. And so every time we see a yellow car, we would touch each other and say, I love you, or love you, mom, love you, son. But it turned into love instead of slap. At first, I got some pushback as to how I was changing the rules, and it's not all that cool. But over time, that's what we have come to play, especially when they're playing with me. And it's a lot more nurturing, it's a lot more wonderful, it's a much more beautiful connection for me than to be slapped around while I'm driving in the car. So, thank you, Kim. I love you too. So for your practice, think of some old trick that you may be caught in and you want to shift it and change it to something much more loving, much more nurturing. Example, if you tend to look at yourself with a certain lens, oh, poor me, nothing ever works out, and I'm miserable this, I'm no good at that. Every time you find yourself falling into that trick, that old trick, turn it into a new treat. So what can you do? Maybe you can stand up and do a jig or dance or just hug yourself and say, I love you. Why not? Otherwise, those circuits in your brain will continue to make the same old connection. And the longer you stay in those same old patterns, the harder it will be to break away and create something new. So for your mindfulness moment practice today, turn an old trick into a new treat. Go forth, explore, experiment, and experience with love for yourself, laughter for life, and a lightness of spirit so that you may enjoy your very own different kind of happy. Thank you so much for watching, and namaste.